Welcome back to another episode of the Tacho Show. So we're back for a Hall of Forms builds video, and we actually do have a decent selection of units this time around. So of course, the unit that's going to be stealing the show this time is Nergal, and I actually do think he is a worthy Forma to pick up with a Forma Soul, assuming you don't have a copy of him already, and considering the fact that his number one counter, which was Dosage, which was included on the Needhogger units. Those units have fallen out of the meta now, so Nergal is basically back in action. Pretty cool to see this guy back, and if you want to gamble, I would say Spring Karla is an option, although it's never really easy to tell if these refines are going to be good or not. Sometimes the gamble pays off, and sometimes it just falls flat, so do be aware of that if you're planning to go for Karla. And Lloyd being in the Grail shop and being a potential plus 10, that does give him one thing you can hold over all the other units. But at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily go for him over Karla or Nergal. And then Ursula actually gains nothing, next to nothing, from being a Forma. She already comes with basically everything she needs. She's an AoE spam unit, and she has Verge of Death, and AoEs are relatively easy to inherit. So yeah, I would say she's definitely in last place, and there you guys go. So shoutouts to Joel for this lovely infographic. Well, not really infographic, just graphic here, showing off the selection of units. Let's go ahead and take a look at builds here, starting with Nergal, of course, the man of the hour. So, yes, it is Hall of Forms, and yes, you do want to pick up a different weapon as opposed to his base weapon, but none of the inheritable green tomes are even in the same vicinity of what this weapon does. So it's a complete wash. If you're going to pick up a weapon, just go for something cosmetic, like Green Egg or Bunny Tome or something with a funny animation just to meme around. But in actual, factual, reality world, you're just going to be running his main weapon all the time. And he hasn't been refined yet either, so there's no telling if this is going to get even better than it already is. So this would be the first set of skills I would say you want to look out for. Comet will just turn this guy into a nuking monster. Reposition Gate, pretty obvious. Just get your movement and then get your Canto. Attack Res Aria. Aria skills are pretty much the go-to now for these infantry special nuke units. Pair up, nice defensive and also offensive skill. You get a little bit more DR if the enemies can Brave, which is practically every enemy in the game right now. And you may see the first portion of the passive here and see that you need speed, or it helps a little bit with speed, but that completely doesn't matter. All he wants is the true damage and true DR. And then Preempt Ploy, just get some special coverage and then also get some debuffs on the enemies. It does Ploy and Exposure, which is great. And his weapon already comes with a massive cooldown jump. It's up to 3 based on how many bonus effects he's already got, and he's going to have a lot. He's going to have way more than 3. So, -3 to Comet, which already has -1, and his weapon has -1. You're going to nuke them with Comet right on the first hit, assuming there's no antics going around like Scowl or whatever. So, yeah, this would be the first set of choices for skills. Then we have these skills over here, which are side grades or side options. So, Ice Wall, he does have a workable res stat and defense as well, for that matter. So getting some non-pierceable DR might be okay, although Comet also does that. So Ice Wall could be an option, and then also Sly Mirror. It's another option to Aria, but I would say just go for Aria. And then if you want this guy to be a rally supporter bot, then he can run favor skills. You can give him a rally skill. Really, he just needs to stand there giving essence drain to everybody pretty much. So he doesn't necessarily need to enter combat himself, although he certainly can if he wants to. And then Fatal Smoke, of course, just nullify miracle effects and just some more supporty effects if you want him to support in a different way. So Havoc is good for debuffing. Firm Canto Curb, obviously, for disrupting the enemies. I tossed the Corin Ring on this one just to play up the fact that he's going to be disrupting the enemies and messing with them. And Finish can still be okay, although I would say it's a tier below something like Aria. So there we go for the skills you want to look out for on Nergal. Let's go ahead and move on now to our next unit, so Bunny, Karla, and Freya. So the Arena Axe is actually a pretty good inheritable weapon, and it's actually at the moment better than their own inheritable, or their own unique weapon, I would say, at least up until the refine. Their weapon does have some key effects, like -2 cooldown on every odd number turn, which is not limited to one turn only. So they can just keep cooldown pulsing themselves and charging up to good specials like Arc Rival, for example, or Gale Force Mist or something like that that you want to be able to access really easily. So they have that, and then they also neutralize enemy defensive specials like Pavis and Aegis when they proc their own special. So yeah, just having high-cost specials on them is not an issue whatsoever, and hopefully their refine is good. So this one is going to be more of a supporty type of setup here. We have a rally skill, and then we have also favor to give allies bonuses, attack speed, outcry, dull. There are several variations of this, like hone assault and also insight hone, I think is the other one. Or well, hold on, or is it bellow? I think it's bellow, right? I think outcry dull to me is the best one because neutralizing the foe bonuses is better than like cutting DR in half or getting +1 special charge on a unit that doesn't even need special charge. So yeah, and then Blue Skies, obviously very good. They can't get the new version of Blue Skies that just came out because it's not going to be in Hall of Forms yet, but I mean, old school Blue Skies can get the job done. All right, then of course, secondary skills. Fatal Smoke, nice for neutralizing enemy miracle. Execution Breath, actually a pretty solid DPS that comes with a little bit of defense. You can also get some 7 flat DR out of this and a lot of true damage. So it's a nice skill. And then Flared Sparrow, very nice, obviously, for the terrain. And Gale Force Mist, if you're going to be running that and Edelgard Ring, you can set up 3 stacks of fire tiles, which can help you out. Especially if you're running a unit like Baby Camilla who wants to warp to tiles. And then over here, this time we're just running more so of a movement-capable build. So Sigurd Ring lets them move 4 spaces, helps us maximize Assault Impetus, which wants us to move a lot of spaces. And then you get a lot of Canto with the Sigurd Ring, and you can Shadow Shift enemy or allies into a better spot. And then Excel, which is worse off than Blue Skies, but still pretty good for the true DR. So yeah, there you go for skills for Bunny Freya and Karla. All right, next up we have the Vengeful Wolf here. So Fallen Lloyd, pretty nice unit that actually I'm sure most people got to +10 if you cared about Arena. He was a pretty good free-to-play Arena bot back when he came out. Right now, not so much. His score is not high enough to be ran on an Arena core, but it is a blast from the past, and he might get a refine that's solid. Who knows? At the moment, though, Arena Sword is just way better than his own weapon. So Reposition Gate, good Arena assist. Arc Rival, pretty obvious. Erica Ring, pretty obvious. Duelist Blow is nice, so he gets some DR, some true damage. It's basically like Blue Skies for infantry. Duelist Blow. That's how you can look at that skill as. And it has tempo, too, which is pretty cool. And then Pair Up, once again, we already know the deal. Very good skill for all sorts of different things. And then he is a fast unit, so he can take advantage of the frozen effect and the speed drops on the enemies and stuff. And then Pulse Tempest F. You go with any Tempest skill pretty much. They all have one advantage over the other. Hold on, what are they called? Burst has -1 before your first attack. Pulse Tempest F has -2 before your first follow-up, which I think combos really well with Arc Rival, because if you do have color advantage, you get the -2 on your first attack, and then with Pulse Tempest F, you get -2 on your second attack, which is pretty good. And then the Brutal Tempest is the one that gives you Canto Rem +1, which is nice as well. And then the one from the Brave Felix neutralizes enemy bonuses, which can also be good. Although that one, if you have allies that give neutralize enemy bonuses as status, that one's not as necessary. Okay, over here, we're running Comet this time and Distant Bonus Amp. His other option for the A skill, they're pretty similar. Duelist Blow, I would say, is better, but getting Distant Counter is helpful. So Distant Bonus Amp can be nice. And then, of course, Lagoo's Loyalty. It's a secondary option to pair up. This guy can use both pretty well. And Lagoo's Loyalty will get him to his specials a little faster. Keep in mind, his base weapon didn't have -1 cooldown. So helping out with the cooldown there with Lagoo's Loyalty could be pretty good. Although Comet is pretty lenient because it will cooldown charge every turn. And then Tempest Burst just to show off a different Tempest skill there. And then over here, we have the Serving Knife, which is another option for his inheritable weapon. This one gives you another action after you pop a Rally Assist or a Movement Assist or whatever. So using a Rally Assist with Favor, you just get maximum shenanigans there. You can buff your allies, you get another action, and you can also do some pretty good damage too, because Favor gives you an insane amount of true damage there. And then Excel is, again, like Blue Skies for infantry, although Duelist Blow, I would say, is definitely the one to go for. And then Pulse Tempest F once again, although I should have actually showed Brutal Tempest here, just to show a different skill. And yeah, getting the Kanto Rem can certainly be something that comes in handy. And then finally, Ursula, like I said, she really doesn't gain anything out of being a Forma, because her base weapon is way better than all the inheritable blue tomes, although Devoted Cup is okay. It's not the worst. I mean, it potentially gives you plus 25 true damage, and then it also inflicts some stat drops on the enemies, and it does Discord, which her main weapon does not do. But her main weapon has a lot of cooldown pulsing for her, and then it also has true damage on AoEs, which is what she wants to do. And then it gives Desperation as a start-of-turn bonus to allies, so, like, there is no reason at all not to run her base weapon. But it is Hall of Form, so I do have to show inheritable options if they are available. Yeah, and then her special sucks too, because like I said, she wants to use AoEs, but all the AoEs are relatively easy to get. So she doesn't really gain anything from stuff like Ice Wall, Magic Light, Frost Moon. Like, all of these specials are whatever. It's not like she can't use them. She has decent res. But, like, 35 res with Ice Wall, come on. The units running Ice Wall are going to have, like, damn near 50 res, right? So, it doesn't really do much for her. And then, unfortunately, she can't get Logic either from the new Lysithea, because that's not going to be in Hall of Forms yet. So, Crystalline Water, just an alternate option for AoEs if you want to boost res and if you want to use res skills on her. Def Res Shackle, just to get some more debuffs, and then Attack Res Hone Assaults, so she can buff allies. You don't want to go for attack and speed boosting C skills here, because her own weapon already boosts attack and speed. So if you're going to run a boosting C skill, try to pick one that doesn't do both attack and speed. Try to get one of the other stats in there. All right, then over here we have Arya, which is good. If you're not going to run her with an AoE, then you could use Arya, I guess. Although, really the main selling point to this unit is just spamming AoEs. Okay, then we have Favor. Again, should go without saying, but attack and defense Favor, because like I said, her main weapon boosts attack and speed already, so you don't even need that. And then attack and res Hone Insight, again, for different stats, as opposed to just getting attack and speed all the time. And then finally, over here, we got more of a supporty style. So, Shadow Shift with the Sigurd Ring, pretty good. You get your Kanto, and then you can repo someone in. Conjuring Breath, actually a pretty decent DPS skill for her. And then Flared Sparrow, just to set up the fire tiles. And it does do some pre-combat damage, which can tie in with your AoEs pretty nicely. So, yeah, I mean, it's not like there's nothing in here for her. Most of the good passives are in the B skill, though. Like, Shackle is pretty good for her. Favor is okay, and then, of course, Conjuring Breath is okay if you just want her to do more damage. But unfortunately, her playstyle doesn't really play up too well with the way Hall of Forms works. So there you guys go. Those are the skills you want to look out for on these upcoming Hall of Form units. Once again, I would say Nergal is definitely an option to consider at the very least. If you want to be a gambler, then maybe Karla, and the other two not so much. Although if you've got a plus 10 Fallen Lloyd and you just want to give him that one last hurrah, then you could pick up some good stuff for him in here. Otherwise, stay away from Ursula. And that's all for this one, guys. So, hope y'all enjoyed it. And I will catch y'all again on the flip side.